Get your hands off me, sir. The old black man stumbled backward as the young white waiter yanked him by the collar near the hostess stand. His wife gasped, trying to steady him while onlookers turned away in awkward silence. I told you, this cafe has a standard, the waiter sneered. We're not a soup kitchen. The man didn't shout. He gently adjusted his coat and said nothing. Around him, the air felt frozen. No one intervened. No one even looked at him. He turned to his wife, placed a hand over hers, and whispered, "It's all right, Lorraine." But what happened 3 minutes later, no one in that cafe would ever forget. Kyle, the waiter, strutted back behind the counter like he had defended some noble fortress. These people just wander in like it's theirs, he muttered to another staffer. I'm done pretending. Lorraine looked at her husband, Charles Brooks, and softly asked, Do you want to go? He shook his head. We'll sit outside. Just like old times. But just as they were walking toward the door, a young woman filming the incident whispered to her friend, Wait, did he say Brooks? As in Charles Brooks? A pause. Her friend's eyes widened. The Charles Brooks? From the Veterans Fund? Neither of them moved. The camera kept rolling. And inside, Kyle laughed, one less table to clean. 5 minutes later, the cafe door slammed open. A tall woman in a navy blazer and heels stormed in, flanked by 2 staffers in black polos. Her voice was tight. Where is he? The manager, Wendy, came running. Ma'am, please, we didn't know. Didn't know that Mr. Brooks was here, the woman snapped. He built this place. The foundation, the funds, the renovations. Every paycheck here has his name behind it. Kyle looked up, blinking. Wait, who? Lorraine stood calmly near the window. Charles just sipped his tea. The woman turned to him and bowed her head. Sir, I'm so sorry. Charles looked at Kyle. It's all right. He was just doing what he was trained to do. But his voice held no bitterness. Just quiet wait. Wendy tried to gather herself. We'll fix this. We'll. Charles shook his head slowly. No need. He pulled a sealed envelope from his coat and handed it to her. I was going to stay quiet. But today reminded me why I started this in the first place. Inside was a resignation letter, not his. It was a formal withdrawal of his funding for that specific branch, with a note, no dignity, no dollars. Wendy's hands trembled. Please, Mr. Brooks, we'll retrain everyone. But Charles was already standing. Lorraine adjusted her coat, placed a hand on his arm. They turned for the door. The cafe had never been so quiet. Kyle looked like he had aged 10 years in 30 seconds. As Charles stepped outside, he paused beneath the small bronze plaque by the entrance. Dedicated to those who served, in silence, in sacrifice, in strength. He reached up and touched the cold metal gently, then turned to his wife. Let's go home. Behind him, Wendy stood still, her face wet with tears. Kyle slumped into a chair, no longer cocky, just, small. And the young woman who had filmed the whole thing? She uploaded it with one sentence. The man he mocked signed his paychecks. By nightfall, the story was everywhere. But Charles Brooks never commented. Because for him, dignity was never loud. It was simply, firm. What Charles Brooks taught us is simple, dignity doesn't need to shout, it just needs to stand. In silence, in presence, in truth. If you've ever witnessed quiet strength, or been underestimated for how you look, share your story in the comments. And if you believe in stories that remind us of justice, dignity, and character, subscribe now, because the next story might just be yours.